And we're gonna jump right into it. Here we go. Ancient is the first pick. This is BHOP's choice again. And thus, the grand finals is about to begin. Everybody place your bets, because these two teams are going to give us a match for the ages. And Ancient will be the first scenario for it. BHOP defeated Devonport University 16-10 when they played here yesterday. And of course, whenever Sojoga gets to play, they have not dropped a single map just yet in this tournament, but it seems that BHOP is trying to start it with a bang as they get the first plant already. You can see Sojoga deciding whether to push through excavation or T upper. They will proceed and find Swan, who will be taken down, and Silas went down already before as well. So that seems to be a pretty open route in front, as they also set up the wall of smoke, not letting BK move out of the way, but Landon is the first one to die from Sojoga. Even some damage from his teammate here by PRT. It's all down to Tedison and Brett, and Brett is gonna take it for his team.
Brett gonna close things out. It was a fast execution, and in the end, he managed to hold on for dear life. Huge start here for BHOP Esports, as they are trying to establish themselves in this series. Now, of course, but these guys have yet to play in Ancient, so perhaps not as accustomed to one another. However, they're gonna have to rely on their teamwork and strategies that they've already used to try and amount to something. Immediately coming through mid areas. It wasn't a prime position, though. The utility gonna impede from him to get a kill quite early on, but Silas will find one of himself. Brett making sure to keep all bases covered right there, and we've seen this man be so huge. Like, he just goes huge for his team sometimes. This start here in Ancient has been no exception.
Bringing things down to a crawl now, as we see the wall of smoke go completely past Tadazin. They do set up another one though, and it was very needed, as it will get them the push. Sojoga down to Landon. Once again, the only one remaining is going to have another wall of smoke set up in front of him. And so BHOP Esports has full chance to go behind the box and set up the bomb. It's Swan who's going to take his team on his back once again. But Brett has actually been the one with the best KD, getting 4 kills last round. Just one here, but he has not died just yet. If he keeps this up, he is bound to be a great MVP for his team. But who will bite the dust first? It seems that Landon takes a lot of damage. Bomb's about to go off as well. People will have to start moving soon. But Landon wants a chance at defusing. He will not get it. BHOP wins the second round.
Time for the bounce back, though, for Sojoga. Things are looking clean for BHOP so far. Feeling comfortable so far, and this was, of course, their starting pick, so this is exactly what you would expect, and even managing to so far take some advantage before going for the switch of sides. Seems like they're gonna be split, so 4-man push gonna come this way, and look at that. The runes are gonna be heavily guarded, of course. They know that perhaps be a bit easier on approach here. However, Sojoga, aware of that as well, are gonna look to cause some trouble, of course. Bit of a save here at this point for them. Second time around that we've seen this. So only nades on their side. Not too many toys to play with, but very effective ones. A dad. And check it out. It's actually Sojoga who managed to start with a bit of damage and a kill to boot, but also the frag in mouth, like him falling, could represent some trouble here for Sojoga.
For sure, this disadvantage in team members doesn't seem to be happening anytime soon. But given Silas's remaining HP, sure wants to be careful with this next push. Beaky is going to be found, and so is Brett. First kill for him in this map, in this entire series. And there we go, now it's a trade. Swan catches 2. We are back to even Alpha Sunroy, but of course, with that little piece of detail that Silas only has 6 HP left. They're gonna find PRT though! And this is what you want if you're BHOP Esports. They are now each covering a different front, looking for DZT. Doesn't seem like either one of them really has his number, though. Swan will simply move in for the plant. DCT definitely heard that, and he knows that he will find Swan, but Silas is going to catch him from behind. And that's another round for BHOP Esports. Roy, they started out with a bang. Now it's all a matter of consistency. Will they be able to give Sojoga their first map loss in the entire tournament?
This would be the first time, not the first time that they managed to do so, though. At least historically, we've seen them fall before, so Sojoga are actually capable of bleeding. Turns out the Brazilian gods also bleed here, especially in grand finals. Of course, let's not forget, this is a match decided only in maps. There is no elimination bracket or anything like that, so whoever gets that 2 on the scoreboard will walk away with the victory. So far, judging by the way that BHOP Esports have been playing, we can tell just how much they wanted at this point, landing some beautiful shots right there. Gonna connect onto Ares. So he's gonna be shut down once again. And landing has been just an excellent upper all throughout. We've seen him hit in some very impressive flicks at close quarters and such. So the fact that, to me, it really stands out the fact that Sojoga almost, even though they were saving, managed to get things in a very, very close situation throughout that last round. And now they will finally claim 1, no longer forced to save. And here is their answer, a straight round. This is how the Brazilian team does it.
Indeed, they do not let themselves down. Granted, they have not been at a disadvantage for that many maps in the past. For most of the tournament, they are usually playing at the advantage in the scoreboard. But this is how you start a true comeback. This is how Sojoga might reclaim some ground. And you already know what to cover, right? It's usually the util flying through a lower mid. This time, though, they leave the door wide open on long. And BHOP is simply going to be the owners of this space. They might see some shootout action here. And yes, DZT is going to find a trade. But it ends up going in favor of Sojoga. They lost PRT. But he took down Silas. Back to even in numbers, but that bomb has been planted. And Landon is shown. So BK knows he's going to set up that wall of smoke right there. Landon cannot just move forward. And we also see Tadison taking a lot of damage as he tries to enter through triple box. Will have to be forced back into CT lane. And Mouth can't get a solid view on Swan, who will be taken down. That's actually a good trade right there. Tadison ends up taking him.
Oh.
And BHOP is gonna take the entire round.
BHOP gonna come out on top of that. Sojoga looking to find an answer. It took him a while to do so. In the end, though, BHOP Esports also have an answer of their own, is that no matter how hard you're trying to come back, we're gonna keep this lead. We quite like it here, they say. So, yeah, BHOP, once more, the effectiveness of their T side has been showing up. Executions looking clean so far. Of course, it's up to Sojoga to try and dismantle that, though. To their credit, we've seen them adapt very, very fast in a couple of situations. DCT gonna be the first one down. On the side of Sojoga, Landing goes down as well. And the rest of the team seems to be following him to the grave. As Swan continues to deal in the hurt here. Things looking amazing yet again for BHOP. Bomb Planet. And of course, Mouth and PRT are running for the hills. They are out of there and try to get perhaps a frag or 2 in case the time lends itself to that. However, I don't think there is even going to be an opportunity for that. So yet another dominant round here for BHOP. Very effective pick that they've had for a starting map here. Definitely the type of momentum that you want to catch before anything comes to a close. And I mean, this is grand finals, so definitely the moment to show up. taking their own, or looking to take their own pick. Opening up with the right foot will be quite the statement. Nice little double on Silas's part there in the replays. And yeah, yet again, BHOP Esports continue to further their lead.
Now here's one thing that I would like to see later on down the line, Roy. When Sojoga starts getting confident, they will bring out the more odd weapons. I am sure they will bring out FAMAS and AUGs as they have done so in the past, but because they're kind of forced to play within their limits, they're simply gonna have to go back to basics, DZT and math, with the Deagles. And sure, PRT might have some more consistent firepowers, but the thing is, how are you going to make that work? Not really much of a view on anybody. Things have gone once again down to a crawl as everybody is rotating. PRT's A1S is definitely something to be feared, though. He is covering his own backside. He will not yet rendezvous with everyone else. They're waiting on DCT's intel, and DCT does not seem to catch anybody. He will not win this trade here. Not the best of angles, cornered himself. And so it's all down to mouth with the Deagle. And Brazilians love to get those Deagle kills, but I don't think it's going to be optimal here. Mouth is gonna be forced to hide. And I think that BHOP recognizes that he should be somewhere around here. No reason why he would be separated from his teammates. And they find him finally as they put a 6-1 on the scoreboard. BHOP, so far, completely dominant. Do not let Sojoga play their game. But remember what I told you, Roy? PRT is going to switch weaponry. Finally, time for that AUG to come from, and this is where I think the tables might start turning, because Landon also gains access to his AWP. That's the firepower that Sojoga needs to play proper defense. Whereas BHOP Esports, mostly A1Ss and a single AK, and they're already taking a lot of damage. Sojoga is back on their feet.
Yeah, Nog there for PRT. See, it's actually a difference maker at this point. The fact that they do get to play with the toys that they like most could really come in handy, but it's going to be yet another successful plant for BHOP, which has happened time and time again at this point. This time around, though. And even though, of course, Sojoga do have the numbers, it is not only a matter of abusing that, but also trying to take advantage of the fact of those angles. Trades come true, and it's all now up to Ares. And as long as they manage to cover his approach, things could go down. But look at that, Ares letting them know, and not enough time right there for PRT to do anything about that. Yet another one from BHOP. Just Ares being a nuisance by the end. He's like, that's my property. Let go of it. Let go. It is not yours for the taking that round. Completely undecided of BHOP at that point. Those were some beautiful shots even through smoke. So excellent stuff there for BHOP Esports. Yeah, yet again we've seen this clutch plays from them, which paired along with the offense that they've been playing so far, things are looking great. So perhaps we even get the chance to go for a center map at this point, and the Titans that were looking unbeatable in Sojoga perhaps could be falling a bit earlier if BHOP continues to play like this.
Well, BHOP does not want to let a single centimeter go from their area. Granted, they are taking some big damage, but they do manage to break down most of Sojoga, as they only have to worry about Mouth with his Deagle. Again, a favorite for Brazilians as well. We see them playing with very specific toys. He does not have a clear view on anybody, and BHOP is going to take a chance and rotate all the way back to A site. You just gotta watch their backs as Mouth is slowly but surely closing in on them. He might have seen... Yes, he definitely saw Swan, but Swan saw him too. And that will be the final kill The bomb will be planted, but no need for that, as they wipe out Sojoga once again. That's the thing, Roy. Only PRT has survived a couple of rounds. Everyone else has fallen on every single one of those rounds. And we can't really say that Sojoga isn't finding kills either. As you can see it on BHOP's KD, 3 of their team members have fallen 6 rounds. It's not even that far away from Sojoga's own. The problem for Sojoga is that they can't really stop the bomb being planted. That's how most of these rounds have gone for BHOP. And now the util doesn't seem to be working on their side either. They're only managing to stop them for a few seconds, but the rotations are giving BHOP all the time in the world. Granted, they will now have to face off against PRT, who is holding on to A. They're waiting for Brett's intel to see if they can move forward, and a lot more walls of smoke are going to be set up to prevent a push through the ramp. And they're... oh, man. Mouth and Tadison wanted to go in on Silas. They end up getting a single trade, but they finally find Eris. Sojoga back on top and team members, and they are now surrounding the bomb. They know that Swan is going to have to go for a very risky move if he wants to fetch it. This is not a good spot for BHOP to be in. Not even an easy entryway, as you're going to have to peek very carefully. Brett was taken down earlier, and now Swan gone. Finally, Sojoga back on the scoreboard.
Tadison put in the final 2 frags into the last round. You're pressed to believe that BHOP Esports, like, you wouldn't be, like, crazy to believe that all those dominant rounds from BHOP Esports were not there if we just looked at that one from Sojoga. And the thing, though, is that, of course, they've amounted to do exactly that, like, just sort of being able to hit their reset button really quick. But it's only been 2 times so far for Sojoga. They need so much more than that. Of course, a couple of amazing plays have denied them of that. I think the story could look a little different in the round count for them. But so far, of course, in spite of how dominant BHOP Esports have looked, perhaps it's still not too late for Sojoga to try and gather some more rounds here in CT side before they are forced to do anything else on the switch. And as we've seen, of course, BHOP have been able to take advantage of T just fine. Well, just their strategies have been a little bit, they have been working a bit better. And also, the frags have come through every single time. Like, the shot is right there for BHOP. And the fact that they are hitting those shots at such an important stage, it's absolutely massive, crucial for the success that we've seen so far from the American team.
Speaking of successful angles here, you saw PRT falling as he was trying to take a peek. Chambers seems to be a no-go for Sojoga, as 2 of their team members have fallen, and now they take care of the rest on Temple and CT lane. BHOP will earn another round. Keep in mind, everybody, we're only gonna play around 12. This isn't even the end of the first half. BHOP will get to play a very solid CT. Because we have already seen that they are more than capable of doing some damage on T side. But I would like to point out that when they played against Davenport on Ancients yesterday, they got 7 round wins on T side and 9 on CT. And now they're getting 9 on T side, destroying Sojoga's CT. Imagine how they will do when they switch around. Biki,
Exactly.
just waiting for that molly to go off. Of course, the fact that there was a molly there tells you that there might be somebody hiding on A, so they're going to thread carefully. Brett watches the front. Swan watches their backs. Seems that they actually have a way in, but PRT is going to rotate in time. Moving through, well, about to move to choose whether to move through Temple or CT lane, holding a very tight angle here. Sees the util fly by and called for assistance as Landon is going to be here with the... Oh, he does not have the AWP anymore. Sorry, he does not have the... Yeah, he actually has an A1S now. Still has some firepower, though, as he finds the shots onto Brad. And Eris went down earlier as well. Beaky is going to suffer too. Tadison gonna set up a wall of smoke behind box so nobody can really go in and plant. And Landon Peaks definitely seen, but it's only gonna force BHOP to rotate as they too saw all the team members from Sojoga that are covering that same spot I don't think Swan is going to want to trade much more, but he is willing to play the long game against Tadazin. Silas also has the bomb. Sorry, Swan also has a bomb, so you might not want to separate that much. You might put Silas in a very tight situation if he wants to fetch it. Time is running out too, Roy. 20 seconds left on the clock, but Mount's AUG is not going to do the job. Mount's favorite weapon kind of failing him a little bit, as he could not quite get the kill, and he is going to let Silas live, but not enough time for a plant Roy. This round will go for Sojoga. BHOP was just trying to do as much damage as possible before the end of the timer.
That is indeed the case this time around, so it is going to be yet another one for Sojoga. They were in dire need for that, though. 6-round differential at this point. They're not going to be able to fully catch up before we switch sides. So really, I think they pretty much, at that point, are not really forced to take every single round from here on out. But you'd be hard-pressed to believe that it wouldn't really come in handy for them at that point. The thing, though, is that the best of a chance that they can give themselves before BHOP gets a chance to hop on the CT side, it is, I think it really could go a long way. Ares tries to get the wall bang. He's gonna get the damage onto Tadazin, so he is forced to move completely out of there. So huge recognition. That is the knowledge that you get. Not even forced. Tadazin gonna get himself a couple of frags right there. Still trying to push through the smoke. Things looking much more solid here for Sojoga. They were in the blender for a while, but it seems like even though they came out a bit roughed up, they're still putting up a fight right here.
And a fight that they might just end up winning, as they have the vast superiority in numbers. And that's the round again, everybody. Sojoga finds BHOP on their collective push through B, and it won't go well for BHOP, the invited team, who, yes, will get the side switch with a very positive score of at least 9-6, depending on how these two next rounds go. But you definitely want those double digits. You want to approach the mark of 16 ASAP. And here we go. It's time for a tactical pause, because BHOP has now been stopped on their tracks. They had a very good momentum going. To reach the side switch with 13-2 would have been ideal. They're slowly dwindling away from that score. And I think Sojoga's adaptation really comes down to good, I wouldn't call it prediction. It's more so just good util setup. You have seen them close the entryway through long so many times, and also cover the angles through shortened chamber. That BHOP has no choice but to try and push again for B, and you're either gonna go through that dead zone of excavation, where so many have fallen before, and Sojoga is so perfect at covering, or you're gonna go through a ramp, where you have seen Tadazin setting up shop right on the wall, waiting for people to go through. So you don't have much of a choice. BHOP needs to utilize their own util, redundancy and all, to force Sojoga to rotate, because the bait and switch is coming completely from the Brazilian teams, from the Brazilian team members, and not anymore from BHOP. And you can see Landon trying to catch some collateral. He only took down Beaky at the end of the day. That first shot would have been crucial to take down too. They still have the numeric advantage, but it definitely took some time for Landon to find that one. Granted, everybody else picks up the slack, and so Swan. Wait, did he not? Huh. Taking his sweet time there. DZT is the last one we see, but Mouth and PRT are going to finish the job.
So, now Sojoga have consistently found themselves in much better position. Finally putting BHOP into a bit of a rough spot, even if they are currently at the lead. Of course, this is going to be the last one, so regardless of the outcome of the current round, BHOP Esports are still going to come out on top for this first half. Of course, after such great plays, but landing in DCT, laying in the hurt. So now Swan yet again last player standing, and well, he's not quite as equipped as he might need to be for him to even try to get the clutch. Of course, crazier things have happened, but at this time around and without having the bomb, okay. Discipline though, he's gonna show up. He's gonna wait for a bit. And nice shots, great patience from Swan. However, the information comes through immediately, and the CCT is able to close things out. So it's gonna be a scoreboard of 6 from Sojoga to BHOP's 9. But the momentum, at the very least, ended up being on the side of the Brazilian team. Though now the question arises itself, how good is BHOP's defense? Because, like, they looked so great all throughout their tee. Now, though, it is a matter of whether or not Sojoga can, one, start with the right foot, like get the pistol round, get the ball rolling immediately as Silas is trying to silence those chances. And on the other hand, if they do go down, will they be able to adapt faster than they did previously? So far, so good here for Sojoga. They're looking to clear things out. Some shots whiffed at that point, even in closer range. So yeah, Silas gonna be tasked with the impossible at this point. And this is just the start that the Brazilians wanted.
For sure. I mean, this is also the side switch that they wanted to get to, right? BHOP could have had a 13-2 score. They ended up with a 9-6, and now Sojoga is only 2 rounds away from making things even. That's what we constantly say, Roy. No distance is too big for these teams, as we have seen some amazing comebacks. And this is no exception. If Sojoga gets the next 2, they're in for something huge. Would also like to remind everybody that yesterday we saw a couple of equal scores being traded. BHOP won 10-6, then they lost 10-6. Then the last map was a bit of an anomaly, but still, they kind of seem to be married to this idea that the scores will be pretty equal-ish. And now Beaky definitely saw that util being thrown. He decides to back down though. No compromises on the bullets. Still waiting to see if somebody's gonna pop through that smoke wall, and it seems that Sojoga definitely got BHOP to eat up that bait. With the exception of Silas, who is taking care of T upper. All fronts, by the way. Like, he is on the entry to excavation. He's looking everywhere, waiting for that intel to come through. Where is Sojoga? Where are they pushing? And I think that Mouth is gonna go in for a bait push. He might just go and peek through A main, maybe shoot some shots before the rest of his teammates decide to move through ramp. If they get Silas to move out of there, they're in for something big. But Mouth is gonna call for reinforcements. Seems that the push will be for A. Hopefully this gamble doesn't go too south for either one of them. BHOP is gonna lose 2 team members. No, that's 3-4 total.
Whoa.
As Beaky goes down as well. And the push through A will be mostly successful, but Swan is approaching slowly. He's gonna find DZT, but he does not shoot in time. DZT will simply turn around and take him down. And that's just 1 round of distance. BHOP feels this lead dwindle away from them.
Definitely so. At this point, Sojoga have pretty much caught up to them. Of course, they do manage to take huge advantage of the first pistol round, and now gonna follow suit with one more. I love that they played the long game. They were waiting. They didn't try to force anything out. They knew that they were at an advantage. So at that point, it was really only a matter of time, and executions also looking clean. Mechanically sound are Sojoga as well. Tatising, nice double right there. He could get himself a triple. They managed to flush Silas out. And it's yet another fast one here for Sojoga. The lead that BHOP was holding onto for dear life has now not only dwindled down but completely vanished. The Brazilians have caught up, and they have done it so in a very impressive way.
Do not count the Brazilians out. No matter the distance, they already closed it after 7 rounds of deficit. And they are definitely trying to make the best of T-side. It turns out that no matter how good your CT may be, you are facing off against the best T players around, as Sojoga is once again trying to go for some bait and switches. We see Mouth being the lone player who seems to be willing to push for a main. They're going to cover an entryway from Temple, but I don't think that's the safest option, as the frag will come through. It's going to almost take down DCT, and a few bullets more to take care of Mouth, but Sojoga still makes it a favorable trade for them as they bring down both Beaky and Bread. And Tad is even willing to take some of that molly damage if it means he's going to get the angle on Chamber, waiting for more people to approach, but they have committed to Temple. No movement forward just yet from BHOP, though, as DCT is holding to a very tight angle. He knows they're going to move to front. Shoots Ares, but only does some damage, and they lose their own DZT. Now, the boosted angle from BHOP Esports trying to catch people jumping and running. The defuse has got to come through. Stops Ares, and the bomb's still ticking. They traded members, but they stopped the defuse. That's going to earn them the round no matter what. Sojoga on the advantage. The first ones to reach double digits after BHOP Esports was just about to do it. And they have now fallen on 8 consecutive rounds, Roy.
That is quite a streak to be had on the side of Sojoga. BHOP looking strong at the beginning, but this is exactly what Sojoga does, is that they, once they get a stranglehold on the maps, they're so effective at snowballing their momentum, continuing to bring on the same effectiveness that is characteristic of them at this point. DCT not through the smoke. Ares from up above gonna get himself a couple members of Sojoga. DCT does answer, though. The trades have come through. Only up by 1, though, is BHOP at the current moment. Clock ticking against the side of Sojoga. However, they do have bomb in hand. And still a little over a minute to work with.
Not much util though, as you only have a couple of mollies and a couple of flashes that will really not help you get an easy way in. You need the smokes, and that's already gone. Tennyson will be flashed, and he will be taken down by Swan with the AWP, and BHOP Esports has now tied the map once again as even as possible, Roy. But this score did come after 8 consecutive losses. So, as we usually say, better late than never to pick up the pace again. BHOP Esports definitely had a lot of rounds to burn.
Yep.
They were forced to really play their econ side more than once too, so you can kind of say that about 3 or 2 of those rounds were in the budget to give up. But Sojoga definitely does not want to give up any more. Most of them are going to be equipped with the AKs, one with the AWP, that's Landon. And it seems that the AK front is going to be losing this first battle as PRT and Tennyson go down. BHOP's own Silas and Bread are taken down as well. Bread's especially being taken down in mid just goes to show how big of a dead zone that is too. If you plan to push through mid, you better have covered lower mid so nobody can really look at you. And Chamberlain as well. Because it's wide open, man. That's never where you want to fall. And now Sojoga decides that maybe ramp is the play. We do see BHOP backing down. The last one defending that zone was Ares. Sojoga could push here. You still have some time. But Ares decides to go back. Sojoga does not yet choose the ramp. They will peek though. Not being caught by anybody. Ares does not give up his location away just yet, but that util being set up definitely gives it away as Ares is going to peek, and he will not take anyone down. Instead, he is gonna fall himself. Landon will go in for the plant, and BHOP's own Beaky and Swan make a run for it. They need those numbers here. Excavation will be the push for Beaky. Will he find DZT? No, DZT is still living. The one who went down was Swan. And now they're covering for pretty much every front. No choice from Beaky to move through excavation. He tries to rotate back, and he will be found. That's Sojoga's advantage once again, 11-10.
Yet again, the Brazilian team finds themselves at the lead. It's light one of that, but after such a massive deficit that they were through, it felt like they were in the blender for so long, but they just didn't let go. They didn't get down on themselves or anything like that. And bouncing back now at the lead once again, even after that last round. Of course, BHOP getting a bit more aggressive towards the B side. Gonna pay off slightly for them, as now Landing is gonna be forced to go all the way around. PRT and Mouth gonna be working together here to try and get something going at A, so perhaps Landing could catch somebody, but it's gonna be Beaky instead. Mouth is no more. Some shots just getting exchanged. Oh, huge frag there by PRT. However, it's all up to Landing at this point. The damage is coming through, and of course, he doesn't even get the chance to go for anything else, as Silas and Beaky put some bullets in, bringing things back to a tie once more.
It's not that Landon couldn't do it, it's just that A was completely protected. And you don't even see them covering both fronts. They just knew that you had to place yourself behind triple box, and that's about it. What else was he really going to be able to do? BHOP makes it even again, and we see a tactical pause from Sojoga. And you do need a tactical pause. That's a few rounds being traded. Again, much better spot to be in than before. But it's not that you really want your opponents to close out that distance, so respect that tactical pause. They have definitely realized when it's time to ice their opponents out as well. And yeah, icing your opponents is very legitimate. I mean, of course, you don't want to take all the time in the world. You can't really do that. But it is what it is, and you sometimes just have to go for that. A couple of Tech 9s on Sojoga's side now, as they don't have the same firepower as before, but they're kind of playing to their strengths on the aim.
Brett.
Unfortunately, though, that's a triple kill from Bread as he takes down Tatis and Landon and PRT. DZT and Mouth deciding where to push. They do have free entryway to A, but gonna have to wait for that wall of smoke to be set up. Lower mid, man, that actually could have benefited Sojoga a little bit, as they could have managed to just run away through split. No questions asked, but they decide to back down. Mouth most likely feels that they have already rotated towards A again. Will be very hard to cover both fronts with just the two players, given that they're not together. This will not be a body push. This will be a very silent round, it seems. Sojoga is still waiting for intel. Either that, or they could already be playing for the save Roy, because those first kills came by super quickly. BHOP still has everybody on a, well, not everybody's super healthy. They are a little bit lit, but 3 of their players have not taken any damage at all. So yeah, I think Sojoga pretty much decided to save from the very beginning after seeing their teammates fall.
Yeah, I mean, Sojoga playing the cards that they were dealt with at this point, just letting that clock dwindle down. Not much else that they can really do, just hold on for dear life. get that setup going. But of course, BHOP don't even have to move at this point. Everybody alive for them. And another lead on this side of BHOP. It may be a short-lived one. We'll see if they are finally... If they finally will get the ball rolling, if they can, well, bring forth their advantage, further their lead at this point. Or, as we've seen time and time again, if Sojoga can catch up and just steal that lead right back. Second half, much more contested. Bit of a tug-of-war situation, super back and forth between Sojoga and BHOP Esports.
We'll see some replays as we're waiting for the next round to begin. Reminder that BHOP started out with a bang, and Sojoga slowly but surely made that distance back. Now they're back on the disadvantage, but keep in mind, everybody, this is the grand finals. If there's any series that will be as contested as can be, it's gonna be this one. And Sojoga is no stranger to playing a very tight set either. I would like to remind you that Infinity, on the group stage, brought them to an overtime, and then they barely clutched it out before the second overtime on the second map. Or rather, before overtime on the second map. So definitely Sojoga have the stamina. And they know how to close things out. Problem is, they are letting BHOP gain a lot of territory. As through their util, BHOP is forcing Sojoga to rotate where they shouldn't. Be careful, because the Mouth might be the first one taken down, but it seems to be Tadison who takes some damage here. Swan is covering that entry path through, well, for Temple. And it does scare Sojoga away. So back for another rotation. Purity has taken a very little damage. Tadison is a bit more lit. And Sojoga forced to go back and push for B, the classic. But it has been a while, Roy, since they got even a chance to plant the bomb. It seems most of those victories have either been super dominant from either team, or the contest happens when the bomb is planted and no real shot at even moving in. BHOP Esports has simply stopped them on their tracks, and here they stopped Tadison after he set up that wall of smoke. They are going to move in for the plant, though, as Landon will get it, but at the cost of losing 3 team members. Mouth will kind of close the distance out, though, as it's a 3v2 now. And Sojoga gonna run away a little bit. They will take cover on Dark. And nobody from BHOP dares to go forward either. The rotation will come through, as Mouth is gonna cover the very different angle. And a flash will be set up, but no shots being shot either from Sojoga JJ, and that's the headshot from the AWP. They do have kits, though. Swan will move in for the defuse, and the defuse will not be interrupted as they take down Landon as well. That's another run for BHOP.
Finally, BHOP getting 2 in a row here after a bit of a drier second half. Of course, it's not like they've been putting... It's not like they've not been putting those rounds in, of course. However, the way that Sojoga pretty much immediately bounced back, it really does just show how important that last round was. And especially that one, since now, well, Sojoga will be forced into a bit of a neutral here. And the thing is that BHOP are inching closer, are definitely inching closer. Perhaps this doesn't go their way. BHOP Esports could find themselves even at match point. Only 3 rounds more to go for them. Bread making sure that that distance is even closer now after shutting down Mouth.
Ooh, and now they shut down Tadison. Seems that Bread is simply on a killing spree today, as he reaches 21 kills on his side, almost catching up to Silas, who is at 22. The best overall killer is Tadison with 23 kills, but what good are those when you have 3 rounds of deficit? Sojoga might actually lose their first map this entire tournament to BHOP. You already talked to us about how these 2 teams faced off each other very recently, Roy, so technically not that surprising that BHOP would be the team to claim that victory. But don't sing that song just yet, because Sojoga has one chance to avoid an overtime situation, because if BHOP wins this one, the best case scenario for Sojoga is to push into overtime, which, again, they would be more than willing to play. It's a grand final. But you also want to take care of your stamina. Speaking of which, Silas covering the entry to excavation and Beaky covering that path before A main. So not much stamina to give up from Sojoga if they do end up pushing there. A molly being set up to prevent any pushes through lower mid, but it seems that Mouth just earned some time for himself. Now he decides to move forward. They take some baits. The mollies are definitely forcing BHOP to rotate again. This might not be what Sojoga wants, though, as they have a lot of teams committed to push through excavation, waiting to catch people through that corner from Dark. And Silas will bite, but he is gonna end up winning that exchange as he takes a few bullets to Mouth and takes him down, but he will go down himself as well. Back to even. 3v3 again, Roy. No clear winner here, but Sojoga will move in, and they're gonna get that bomb plant. DZT sets it up. BHOP needs to move in pronto, and they will catch Landon. A lot of people blinded on Sojoga will mean that Tedison is the last one remaining. Ares will simply go in for the defuse. No chance for Tedison to catch him. That's another run for BHOP. Worst case scenario, we go to overtime for them. Best case scenario, they win next round, or whatever round really, and they take the map.
BHOP Esports could be shutting down Sojoga this time around. Of course, we still have dust to the map that Sojoga selected for their first pick. And of course, huge props to BHOP for getting so close at this point. I'm not going to call it a done deal just yet, as Sojoga are going to be much better equipped this time around. But momentum-wise, that last couple of rounds were so determinant in the way that BHOP could be closing things out here in Ancient. Of course, would be a huge statement, as you only need 2 victories, so pressure would be completely on the side of Sojoga at this point. And talking about pressure, Tadasing on death's door at this point. Only 8 points are going to separate them from completely falling to the ground. On the other side, though, BHOP Esports looking a bit better. Steel 4 up, and that could be the final nail in the coffin, as it is just up to landing. The 16-1 could be coming in very, very soon. Landing does have bomb in hand, however, he also has some extra bullets, some extra lead in his body. As Brad closes things out, BHOP Esports